Okay, so here we start with more examples of line charts. What we did yesterday was just one basic example where we just learned, okay, what's the basic thing I can do? And I was giving my own data in the form of
Ma'am,
x-axis.
actually, I wanted to ask something. Ma'am, after the class, ma'am, एक बार while I will install the Python again because I deleted the whole.
Acha. Okay, I'll
तो
check
फिर
it up. Okay,
तो फिर एक बार देखना है फॉर्मेटिंग ताकि वो ठीक हो ताकि पांडा फिर इंस्टॉल ठीक से हो पाए.
okay, okay. Okay, so we gave the x-axis data and we gave the y-axis data to him, and then we use the plot function. And plot function may, I'm not specifying what kind of chart. So by default, plot function works for line chart. Later we will learn that we can specify with the kind attribute here that what kind of chart you want. Okay, you want the line chart, you want the pie chart, you want the bar chart, what kind of chart you want. So here currently by default plot, when you're asking him to do, he will work as the line chart itself. Then we gave the title, the chart title, the X label title you can say, the Y label title we can say, and then the show. This was the basic thing we did. Now let us try to do some other things onto the chart so that we make it look better, or we try to include some more features to it. Here we said that I've got two sets of information which I want to present, right? X and Y, and I have taken a Z. So X is my X-axis data, which is referring to the classes, and Y and Z talks about students participating in the art competition or students participating in the computer competition per class. So from class 4, we have 6 students for art and maybe 10 students for computer. From class 5, we have 10 students from computer art and 12 students from computer. Okay, so like that. So basically it is XY what I want to plot for my art competition details, and XZ what I want to plot for my computer competition details. Okay, so you can see there are two graphs, two lines showing you the representation here. And here we can see that blue is becoming the art competition and orange is becoming the computer competition. That is being specified here. And this is my legend because it is telling me what does that blue mean and what does the orange mean. In the previous one, we did not do anything of this sort. We did not talk about the legend. But
Ma'am, we can
here,
specify the colors also.
he is picking it up himself.
Achha.
He is picking it up himself. Okay. So legend has to be given in order to have the legend. If you don't give, then the legend will not appear. In legend, I can specify the location. Like here, it's by default, it is your bottom. You can have the legend on top right corner. You can have the legend on top left corner, like that. You can specify the positions. We'll see to it in other graphs. Then you can see that I've put the grid. How do I get the grid? plt.grid and brackets true. So that means by default, grid is false. Hence, the grid is not shown. We saw it in the previous example. But if I want the grid to appear, then I will go for plt.grid brackets true. And true being a Boolean value, don't forget that T has to be capital. Okay. So these two things we introduced. Then title and X label and Y label was definitely there, and show has to be there. So these things are common from the previous one. Another thing we did was that we added labels to my content of both the lines. That I want to say this plot should have this label in the legend, and this plot should have this label in the legend. Okay, so it is giving you the labels automatically as per what you have mentioned. Right? So that is how we are able to do some modification in our graph. I can add legend, I can add grid, and I can specify what you want in the legend as labels while you plot the data. And fourth point is that these colors, what is being picked up is by default. I have not given any color specification here. So it's by default. You give multiple plots in the same graph, it will pick up the colors of its own. When I want to specify colors according to my need, then I have a different way of doing it. The color abbreviations are like B is for blue, C is for cyan, G is for green, K is for black because this B is common. B could be blue also. So K, which is the last letter of the word black, that is your color code for, you can say, black. M is for magenta, R is for red, W is for white, Y is for yellow. So almost all different colors are starting with the, denoted with the first character of the color name, except for blue and black being similar with the first letter. So they have taken the last letter of black. Okay. So it's not difficult to remember कि अच्छा color codes कैसे याद रखो. By the name of the color and the first character, almost. You might have certain places a kind of a overlap, but majority of them will find it like this basic rule only. The first letter of the name is my color abbreviation. Okay. Now, where do I specify the colors? Like this is the abbreviation I have to use. I've understood. Where do I specify it? So here is the next example where I've changed the color in the same graph we did in the last example. And here I'm saying that after giving the x-axis data and the y-axis data, I specify after comma the color code in quotes followed by the label. Okay. So I said this X and Y data should be in green, students participating in art competition. So you can see that student participating in art competition is represented as green. Whereas this is a green one. This is magenta for the next one. So it has picked up magenta. That's almost similar to the color I'm using for my highlighting or annotation. Okay. So it's very simple. After plotting specification, give the color specification directly. Comma karke give the color code. Okay. Now this is only for the color of the plot. I can change the color, the font size of my titles also in the graph. And these things remain common for whatever graph you're plotting. I mean the color of the title, font of the title, color of the label, font of the label. The way we do it, the concept remains same for your all the graphs, because these four things are like there for all the graphs, right? Plus you have the specification of the styles of the line which you are seeing. The line which is being shown to you as the main specification of the plot, you can specify the line style, you can specify the line width, you can also specify the color, and you can specify the marker and the marker size. So these are the things you can specify with the plot function. Now plot function में X and Y I specified the color code that I showed you in the last example. I can specify the line style. There are various line styles. Let me take it further. I think I have the line styles and the marker specified. Oh, that's here only. Sorry. So in the line style, you have this for a solid line, dash dash for dashed line, then you have a dash and dot, then you have colon for dotted line, like that. Separate category of lines can be given. Line style. Mind it, there is no gap in between line and style. It's a single word. Line width, a single word. Line width will be how much will the line be thick. Now by default, the lines are very thin lines. You want to make it look more prominent, so you increase the line width. Line style can be increased to make it look fancy. Line width can be increased to make it look prominent. And then line style can also be used to differentiate. Like there are 2 plots or 4 plots I'm doing, and all are similar looking lines, and they're cutting each other also at some point or something. So in order to differentiate different line styles for different plots, we'll make it more understandable. Okay? Color we know. Markers are what? Markers are, I was telling you in the last class, the points, actual plot points are being shown by the marker. I can specify the size of the marker also. How much big you want. Small or big you want. One's a default size and the other size, and the other you can specify. Now what all markers you can have? This is the entire list of this. I've picked it up directly from your book itself. But I don't, or neither nobody expects that you have to remember all the graphs. That is for your wish. Few you can just keep in mind, which are maybe common, like for square, it is S. For pentagon, it is P. The symbol of the marker will be a small pentagon.
प्लस के लिए भी P, पर प्लस के लिए अगर फील्ड लिखा हुआ है तो F नहीं होना चाहिए.
Plus, which is filled, that is capital P. Pentagon is
अच्छा.
small p.
Okay.
Okay, by filled, he means that the area within this is filled. This part.
And hexagon 1, 2, एक में capital, एक में non-capital.
Like that, like different types of hexagons.
What is the difference between plus the first the triangle down one and the try down one?
Which one? This is a square.
ये वाला नहीं, I'm saying the
And
fourth
this is
one
a
and
diamond.
the fourth one and the ये जिसमें फिर plus का sign जिसमें आ रखा है एक में. The
This
P,
one.
the small P and the plus one. What is the difference between them?
Thickness, you can't see the difference. One is looking like a ambulance wala symbol. And this is like the normal plus sign of our the mathematical
One is
operator
just a
wala.
more thick symbol.
Thickness, that's what. That's what. So it is just like that much difference is only there. So it's your wish, whichever marker you want to use, but there are many of them. You can see here, quite a long list of markers which can be used. Okay.
Ma'am,
Hmm.
ma'am, I just executed the previous code, ma'am. Ma'am, ma'am, it is showing ma'am dotted lines. Like it's showing dots, not a line.
Did you
And
change?
ma'am, mine is not even showing the graph. It's showing error.
Okay. Let us check out the error first. That's more interesting to resolve. Wait. Yeah, share. Lakshay, you share first, then we'll see what is Sumit getting and what he is actually written.
Ma'am, I have not written the code you were showing. Ma'am, I have written the book one.
Okay, sure na. Error to error hai. Let's see. You always learn when you solve an error.
Ma'am, I'm not getting. Ma'am, I'm not able to share it.
Actually, you're not able to share. Okay.
But
Okay,
in
then you
my
can
screen, it is
WhatsApp.
showing the option of share screen. अभी सर मेरे को दे दिया option.
Could be that there's some other problem. That's okay.
Ma'am, option आ रहा है पर share नहीं हो रहा.
Might be. I can't comment on that. You can do one thing. You can share you can just click picture of that and share it in the group. The code also and the output also. Do that. I'll check it there only. If not now, after the class, I'll check.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Sumit, you share, beta. What happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Because somehow Lakshay is not able to share. Okay. So this is the code and it says same thing, orange. O is what? Orange. M is magenta. Show me the output. Achha, the second plot is not showing the line only. These are the markers actually. Show the code. Which plot is not being shown? Purple one is coming, the magenta one. X and Y. But I just try to keep both the screens visible to me, the output as well as the thing. The code. I mean the graph and the code. इसको minimize कर दो, shell नहीं चाहिए. Yes. Just take it to the left. Yes. Okay. Now we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 10, 14, 13. So your first plot is X and Y and X and Z. So X and Y is 4, 5, 6, 7 each. Y you have plotted, which is 6, 10, 14. No, so this is not being, just change from O to some other color because I can't see any other error here. Just change from O to some other color code. I think is a marker specification. That is why it is picking it up like this. Run it. Yeah, close that chart first. Because it's showing in the form of a marker only. It's not showing as a line. O is a marker. That's why it is picking it up as markers and not as color.
Okay, ma'am.
So that means there must be some other color code for orange.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll just check and tell you. I don't remember all the color codes like that.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Amrita.
Ma'am,
can
where to
stop the
mention the
sharing.
line style?
I'm coming to that example. I'm coming to that example only. We have to mention everything in the plot itself.
Okay.
I'm coming to that example where I have everything. Just before that, in the X label and Y label, we can specify the functions X label and Y label, which we are saying, no, PLT dot X label, and within that, we're giving the label of the X axis, and PLT dot Y label, within that, I'm giving the title of the Y label. So in that, I will be specifying the font size and the color. Font size is equal to the number and color is equal to the number. So it will be applicable for my X label and Y label. Similarly, with the legend, you can specify the LOC, that is the location of the legend where you want. Upper left or upper right or lower left or lower right. Within double quotes, you have to mention LOC is equal to like that. And then in the legend, I can give my, instead of writing students participating in art competition, the label which you have given to understand that plot specification, you can just give your small names also while you are wanting to display to the legend. Such a big legend text looks odd. So I can give a small one also when I'm ultimately displaying the legend. Okay, so both these things can be done with the legend. Now here comes the summary of what all we have done. The question says, draw two line graphs where x-axis shows the individual classes. So that is there 4, 5, 6, 7. And the y-axis shows the number of students participating in art and computer inter-house competition. Use different colors for X and Y labels. Specify the position and text for the legend. Also change the size and width of the lines. So all whatever we have done, we try to implement. Okay. So the content of the graph remains same because it's the same set of data I'm talking about. And here I'm saying the plot. Now in plot, obviously the first two things are the values for the x-axis and values for the y-axis. Then comes the color, which is green, you can see. Now you see the line style. This is where we specify the line style. Comma dal ke keep on giving in the sequence. Line style is equal to dash. So hence you can see that your line style here is coming as dashes. And I've made the width as 10. So it's pretty thick. You can try out with different numbers of width once or twice and check out that how it is varying. For the other one, I have given the line style as dotted. Hence, I am getting the graph like this. Width has not been changed. So this is the default width of my line. And this is the changed width of my line. Then the legend has been changed. Art and computer. I've given the labels here itself inside the legend function in separate set of half circle bracket with the location as upper left. So the legend position has moved to the upper left corner of the chart. So this is the upper left corner. This is your right corner. This is your lower left corner and lower right corner. Okay. So that way you specify that. I mean, you not write corner, sorry. You'll just write the position. Then the title remains similar. Now X label and Y label. The color and the font size has been changed. Absolutely similar manner, you can do that for your title also. Title likha, comma, font size, comma, color. Same tarika hai likhne ka, there is no difference in that. Okay, so X label also we can change the color and the size. Y label also we can change, and title also we can change. They follow the same pattern. And line style, line width, when you're doing the line graph, you specify when you plot it only. At the time of plotting itself, you will change the size and then give you the output. Okay. Let's see what we have as the next example. Now, there I was picking up the data direct. My simple lists were there for my data. Now we start learning because ultimately we have to do the data for the chart. I mean, I have to pick up the data from the chart from my data frame.
And so we will also be using pandas also. इसमें अब तो फिर
We will be also using pandas for.
मतलब जैसे in the last 2-3 examples we did not use anything related to
Ah,
pandas.
so that was the beginning where I wanted to introduce all the, you can say the customizations which we can do in the chart. And of course, we can directly use you can directly use your lists and or series or something as X and Y values because it is values for him. It doesn't matter what category of data you're giving. But ultimately, what I'm going to do is that I have my CSV file. From CSV, I convert the data into data frame. And from that data frame, I pick up the data I want for a graph and I use it. That's the purpose actually. So here we see that because your data will be huge, bulk of information. Bulk of information will be in the form of data frames only. Ultimately, you can use those lists to get your data in the data frame. You can use the series to get the data on the data frame. And then ultimately use a data frame for my work. Okay. So first I do the data frame here. Like I've taken the dictionary, art data and comp data. Then I've created the data frame with the indexes as 5, 6, 7. You can see I've changed the indexes here. It would have been 4, 5. I mean, instead of 3 values, you could have taken 4 values also. But I have taken it as 3 values. So index wo automatically x-axis mein dal dega. Okay. When I am doing it like this, I've not given him anything. See, earlier I was using plt.plot and I was giving him the x and the y specification. Now what I'm doing, I'm saying directly take my entire df and plot it in the form of a line. Take my entire df and plot it in the way of in the type of my line chart. I did not give him any other specification. Okay. So what it does, if you give it like this, then what it does, it picks up the indexes for the x-axis automatically, and the rest of the values are picked up as your separate columns and hence plotted separately. So art ka ek column bana, computer ka ek column banega, hai na? That's how the data is going to be created for the data frame. So every column data becomes your one plot. Automatic. Dekho, again, I will try to specify one thing here that definitely you will not want to have the whole data frame converted to plot in one go. Because maybe that data frame has got a lot of columns. I don't want all the columns to be done. Uska kya tarika hai? We'll learn that. But as of now, we are just saying that instead of using the plt.plot method, which will plot my data as line by default, and I just have to specify him the x and y axis, I can directly use a data frame to plot it by specifying what kind of plot you want. So I could have used this particular statement to plot my data frame in the form of bar chart also. Directly, whatever data you have in the data frame, directly taken, plotted in the form of line or graph chart. Okay. Rest of the things are same. I'm not talking about it. So this was just a simple example where we said that the data frame is there, the indexes are there, and I ask him to do the plotting. He will pick up the indexes, make it as x-axis, and pick up every column and plot it. Okay, but every time we don't want it this way. And I don't want the whole thing to be printed every time. Now here we are talking about another example where I'm saying, I think I have mixed up the slides. I am sorry. I should have done it before this. I did some changes
please
to
take
this.
the attendance before.
Yes. I think I have done some changes in this. Okay, anyway, I'll continue with it tomorrow. But is that basic thing of formatting clear? So today, like formattings we have referred. Line style, line width, then legend ka position, giving your own text
मैम
to the
थोड़ा
legend.
बहुत समझ आया, थोड़ा
Good.
बहुत नहीं आया.
Just take some example of your own, any two list of data information and try to plot it. That is line number, line plot का example 4 जो है.
मैम
in your
पहले तो
PPT.
प्लॉट ही नहीं हो रहा, तो अभी तो समझ नहीं आ
plot
रहा
क्या
ठीक से.
वाला? Did you send the thing?
नहीं मैम अभी भेजा नहीं है, भेज देता हूँ.
अच्छा भेजो, उसको भेजो, then I'll check कहाँ पर.